PS4, Nintendo, Xbox. Which are your favorites? We're going to discuss that next on Screen Time with Doug and Kyle.
What do movies, TV, and video games have in common? It's Screen Time with Doug and Kyle.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Screen Time. I am your host, Kyle, with my other host here, Doug. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Kyle. I am so excited about this episode. I'm glad that we both decided to do this episode because it's going to be really, really fun. So I'm looking forward to it. But doing great.
Oh my God, yeah! Like Doug and I, we've been talking a lot about video game systems and what games to play, and we were kind of thinking like it would be fun to make an episode, talking about our favorite console. The console I feel like that kind of left the biggest impact on us, and I'm really excited to get into this episode because Doug and I feel like we picked very consoles from very different eras, so I feel like we're gonna have it's gonna be very unique take on like what we like about video game consoles and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to be open. Well, when you're a video game person, when you play video games, whether you go to an arcade or you just have a game system, most people probably have game consoles. It's kind of cool to go to, one of the one of the old arcade places to kind of play some of the old arcade games, and some of the new ones. But if you have a console, you have a certain way of doing things. You have your favorite games, you have your non-favorite games, you have, you know, if you've been doing it for a while and you've gone up in the ranks, you started with this console and you went to this console and this is the one I have, then you have this way, and we want to know what your way is, because we want to know how what consoles you started with. We want to know what consoles you ended up with because everybody's different. Everybody has an opinion, and we're about to give ours.
Yeah, and the fun thing is that, so as Doug and I kind of go through our favorite console, we're also going to talk about a few of our favorite games that really that we really enjoyed and like really recommend you guys play, especially if you really want to get this console. So yeah, without further ado, do you want to start? Do you want to start on yours?
Yes, I will start on mine. What I have right now, which could change very soon, and we might have to do another episode on it, on the same thing, but just a different console. What I have now is a PlayStation 4. I've had it for, wow, I don't even know how long I've had it for. So this is the eighth generation. Came out with three different types. Came out in November 15th, 2013. Three different types. It was the three different types with the original, the Slim, and the Pro. The original is now gone. You really can't find it, but you can find the Pro around every once in a while in a store. It came out with the price of $399. And the best one that you can get is kind of like an 8 gigabyte, um, and 8 gigabyte version. I have the disc. There's a disc version and a digital version. So there's two different ways of distinguishing those two. The digital
Oh, I
version
forgot they
means
did
that
that
you're
with
just getting
PS4.
games online, and the disc version is you're actually putting an actual disc in. So those are the two different ones. What's interesting is that I just found out. I was telling Kyle today that in November of this year, PlayStation says that it's going to start moving away from some of the PS4 console games, which I thought was very interesting because, of course, you have the PS5 that's out, and PS5 has been out since 2020.
Oh yeah.
So it may be time for me to move on from the PS4. Hey, comment on that. Tell me what you think about me keeping the PS4 and playing all these really terrific games, or going to the next generation, going to PS5 and playing these graphically pleasing games and spending the money on the new console. So I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think? Should I get the PS5 or should I keep the PS4? Or should I get Xbox or something else? But just give me an idea of what your thoughts are. So that is yeah, it's basically the original. It had the dual shock. The first time anybody had the dual shock that actually vibrates when you either hit something or when you if you're playing a sports game, you you the graphics are really great in this, as you can see. Oh, there's a little basketball there too. So yeah, it had the dual shock controllers, and those were really cool. And because it was the first time you actually like felt something out of the controllers, so it was really kind of a neat thing. um but that is my the console that I have right now. It is happens to be my favorite console. Again, I started out with I've had Nintendo, I have had other older consoles, and I have them up until the PS4 right now.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I really I agree. I really do like PS4. I've been I've owned one now for a couple years already, and I've been very impressed with it. How just all the you're right, like the graphics and just all the stuff it can do. I also have a disc drive one. I didn't go with the digital for PS4. Which is fine. I'm more of a physical collector myself, and
Right. You
um,
also can't share games if you have the digital version. You can share games if you have the disc. You can actually hand it to your friend and say, "Here, play this."
Yeah, exactly. That whole feeling of like, when you go to someone's house, like maybe your friend, family, and
Right.
you want
Yeah.
to bring the game over, you want to show it to them. You want to be like, "Hey, I got this cool new God of War game or something like that." And
Right.
you just want to like, it is nice. Like, I know there's some kind of nice things to have with digital games, and I feel like that should be a kind of a maybe a future topic we can get more into, kind of digital versus physical, and maybe which media form is better, and which one is better, which one how maybe what the differences, similarities, improvements, other way around, disimprovements, whatever disadvantages of having it, if you will. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
no,
mean,
I
there's
agree.
definitely some advantages of having the digital is that you buy the games and they're yours. The fact is, the only issue is that you cannot share them and you own them. The only issue I also have is space.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
You
because
know what I'm saying? So if you're talking about a system that has only a 512 or only a the space that it has to keep the games, you these some of these PS4 games, they're ginormous in space. Like, how many can you actually keep on? Now, I typically keep like 2 to 3 on at a time, but that's how much I play. So it's one of those things where I don't have like 40 games that I play. Although I like to expand my knowledge of other games other than the ones we're gonna talk about tonight. But that's an issue. So the PS5 is actually coming out with a 1 terabyte where you can actually get um, more space for your buck, so to speak. But the digital, I think, has more space. The digital units, they come out with more space because they're thinking you're just going to buy and buy and buy. They want you to buy and buy and buy, and they
yeah,
want you to have enough space to keep them.
there's a lot of games to keep track of. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. And again, there's some good things and bad things about it. I mean, I would
Mhm.
rather, I like to have it's like a person that wants a physical book instead of going to Amazon and getting having it on on the computer or something like that. Some
Yeah.
people my daughter likes to read, loves to read, and she likes to have that physical book in front of her, which is great. But again, it's I like to have that physical disc that I know I can stick in there and it goes right in and makes that sound. And I just that's what I like to have. I don't know how you feel. You also said a few minutes ago that you kind of like that physicalness when it comes to that.
Yeah,
We're gonna go to what your favorite one is too, and that actually has physical also, which is even more satisfying, I think, because I did have what you had, but not on that scale, not the super version. I had the regular version, and that was really gratifying because you actually have to kind of, you know, slot it in there and it has to kind of match up and I'm
for
trying not to
sure.
give too much away, but I'm just saying it was really kind of satisfying. Just it's so satisfying. It's
Yeah.
like you know that when you get a new TV and you got that little film that you got to take off.
Mhm.
It's that satisfying kind of taking that film right off of the TV screen.
Oh yeah, no, totally,
I'm getting
totally.
a
Like,
little strange here, but that's just it is what it is. A lot of what I also found out, Kyle. And sorry,
mhm.
we'll get to yours in a second, but what I also found out is that a lot of like a lot of people that play games like 24 hours a day. I mean, they play it a lot more than maybe 5 or 6 hours a week.
Like a lot of hardcore
Maybe
gamers.
7 hours a week, 7, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, maybe 10 hours a week. They play much more than that. I
Mhm.
find they like the digital better than the physical because they can
Interesting.
get so many games and then they could play one game for like, I don't know, half an hour, play another game for a half an hour, play another game for, and they just keep going through their whole library. And I just found that it's totally different. So,
Fascinating.
but I
Yeah.
don't do that. I mean, I get a family and I try to play when they're asleep. So, or when they're not home. So, and I like spending time with my family. So, it's one of those things. So I play when they're, when I'm alone able to play. And it's
Yeah.
different than playing, being a 14-year-old kid that plays all the time. So
Mhm.
it's different that way. So I think that's another pro and con there for digital versus the actual physical disc. But
Yeah, no,
what's
that's
what's yours? What's yours?
so mine, so, as Doug's talking about the
Sorry.
PS4, which came out in the, 2010s, mine came out in the, I wanna say, like, the late '80s, right around when I was, so I have such a knack for, as much as I love the newer systems, like, I love PlayStation and, Nintendo Switch and stuff like that, I absolutely love the classics. I love things like the Super Nintendo, which is just that's the system that I really grew up on. When I was a kid, I used to own actually the original Nintendo, but when the Super Nintendo came out, it just changes your life, man. It is just such an impactful system. Like you even look at the controller here, and I feel like when you compare them to like that more boxy, very straight edge NES controller, this is more ergonomically. It just feels more comfortable. They added a few more buttons, but not so many that make it confusing, like some of the other kind of video game consoles that, after this have done. It's nice and simple to use. I love their D-pad. You can't really go wrong with it. And the games, personally, I feel like they've aged like fine wine for the most part. There's a couple of games here and there in the system where not the best. I can't say it's like the best, but
Well, I think there's some games that aren't that good on every system, but I think that's true. But I like some of the older stuff too because it's like the
yeah.
games you were playing a long time ago as a kid. So they're kind of neat that way.
Exactly, and I just love that whole feeling, and actually you're gonna see this is funny, so I actually pulled up a really old Super Nintendo commercial that which actually features I'll see if you can recognize the main guy playing the games. Um 'Cause speaking of never aging, aging like fine wine, this guy, never ages. Um, but yeah, like, it just has all these, like, really great, like, 16 to 32-bit games that just they look so great, like, oh my god. And were you able to recognize the guy, by the way, in the commercial?
I was not.
So that's Paul Rudd.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh wow. No, I didn't recognize. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, Paul Rudd, like, he, which I stand corrected. I think I'm trying to remember if Super Nintendo came out in the late '80s or early '90s. It was kind of around right around that same point. Um, but yeah, like, so it's just funny seeing him because he like I feel like that guy never ages. He ages like fine wine, like the system does. So it's perfect, like analogy right there. The system like has aged so well. Like in pretty much all the games you play, I feel like have just they've held up really well. And the system actually, for an old system, does a lot of cool stuff that you didn't think was possible. Nintendo was very innovative when they released it too. They kind of took it like sort of a step beyond like what Nintendo already did. It had the cartridges like Nintendo, with like the dust cover and everything. The graphics were better, but they could also do things like I actually have a little device over here called the Super Game Boy. So
Oh.
complete with a little Game Boy cartridge inside. So this is exactly what you see. It's a cartridge meant to be put in the Super Nintendo slot, and you can play any Game Boy game you want on the big screen. Just imagine that.
So it turns out I just did a little research. It turns out that the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, um, actually, I believe, came out in 1990. That's what
It
it.
was 90. Okay.
Yeah, 1990, and it was basically it came out in North America, and it came out at $199,
Oh,
the
wow.
equivalent of $400 in 2021.
Ooh, okay, okay. So
Yeah,
not bad. Not,
so
not a terrible, that's the average asking price for, yeah.
and it yeah, it's interesting because it says it also
Maybe a
came
little
out in
more.
limited quantities because they didn't
Oh.
know kind of how well it was going to do because
Mhm.
a lot of people already kind of were doing stuff and they didn't quite know they had consoles and they didn't really know how it was going to do. So it came out kind of limited to see if it got popular. So yeah, so the quantities were limited in August of 1991 with an official nationwide release date of September 9th, 1991. So they officially released all of them. Release the hounds. They released all the rest of the hounds in September 1991.
Nice, nice. So that's yeah, so it's just like, just I just love it too because it had some of the best, like, libraries of games too, and, like, um, and, like, they also actually years later I'm just gonna do really quick, just a quick little detour before we kinda get into our later segments, but, they, so what they did, much later, like in the this one actually was in 2017, and this is actually after they did it with
Wow.
the original Nintendo too. They actually released the Super Nintendo Mini. So it's basically the Super Nintendo. They brought back the exact same controller, just and they brought back like 21 um really great classic like Donkey Kong, F-Zero,
The
Street
original
Fighter,
games, yeah.
Kirby, Earthbound, like, and also a couple of ones like maybe you don't know. Castlevania was another great series. I need to do like a specific episode just for Castlevania. It's so good. Even boxing, Super Punch Out, and they
Oh, yes.
yeah, I'm sure you remember that one, right?
No, I remember playing these games.
Yeah,
These are
and they just
awesome.
like they look so great. Even Mario World, like it's just
Yeah, yeah.
they just like look and play incredibly well. And yeah, they might not have like the most groundbreaking graphics, but they really stood the test of time for me, and that's why I will always go back to the system. And it even actually, what's kind of cool is they even actually kind of took a step further. They actually had a few games on there, like Star Fox, that um, kind of was like an early version of like N64 graphics, like sort of 3D polygon style. So it was really neat. Like I really like what what Super Nintendo really did, during its run. But I like there's just so many great games to talk about, and you and I we're gonna get there. But before we get into our list of games that really left an impact on us, we're gonna head on these commercials for a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Screen Time with Doug and Kyle. We'll be right back.
Yes, and we have our two sponsors that have been our sponsors for a while now, and we want to thank them very much for continuing to be our sponsors, although we're still waiting for checks. No, I'm just kidding. And so they continue to be our sponsors. First is Zyman Organizing. So I got to tell you some breaking news from Zyman Organizing. We have a website that is coming out for Zyman Organizing. It's going to be coming out, I would say, in the next few days to, I would say, probably in the next week or so. So look for that. We're going to put it out there. We're going to get, it's going to be on lots of social media. But we're very excited about that. And that's going to be huge for Zyman Organizing. And of course, we have Wes Woodson also. Oh, by the way, Zyman Organizing is just kind of what it said. Zyman Organizing is all about organizing a drawer. If you have a drawer, you have a closet. Everybody has a drawer that they don't want to attack. It's a junk drawer or a sock drawer. Well, Robbie does the sock drawers on Saturday, so we're good with that. But it's one of those things where shout out to Robbie Johnson. Um, it's one of those things where it's sometimes you have a closet that you just don't really want to do anything with. And so Zyman Organizing can come in and help you organize it, and help you maintain it. That's the difference between Zyman Organizing and other organizing companies, is that we'll help you maintain it, find out how to do it, and then maintain it in further months and years and stuff like that. Our other sponsor is Wes Woodson. We want to thank Wes for being our sponsor. Wes is on a national tour right now, and he has a book out, and the book is all about depression, anxiety, mostly about anxiety. Wes has had anxiety for years, and he's talking about how men should really get out there and talk about it. He's talking to, I believe he's on a college tour at this time. It's his own tour, so he's very excited about his own first tour. Um, but we will have some information and descriptions about these two sponsors, and just want to thank them very much for sponsoring Screen Time with Doug and Kyle.
Welcome back to Screen Time with Doug and Kyle.
Very nice, very nice. Always good to hear from the sponsors.
Excellent. Yeah.
But yeah, like let's just get right into it. We're really, I feel like, hyping up all these real games that we really like to talk about. And I'm actually gonna hand it over to you, Doug, first. And I know you had
Sure.
some games from PS4 that you wanted to kind of mention, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I have two games with me that I just wanted to kind of show you the covers of, but I'm going to start with a game that I actually don't have with me at this time, but a game that I've played and I like it. I'm going to tell you why I like it. So the first game that we're going to talk about is GTA, or what's called Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto was a series of games, and what happens is that it's an open world, and the open world is basically you could do a story or you could do an open world. An open world means that you can go, and it's different cities. It's by Rockstar Games. They are fabulous. The graphics are amazing, and as you can tell, you can go to different places. um, a lot of it is about getting into a car and, and driving to different cities. There's San Andreas. There's a couple other cities that you can go to depending on which one you get, and you could do a story. And it's basically about, you could do stealing cars. You can do different kinds of stuff, stuff that you can't do in real life. Or you shouldn't do in real life, I should say. um, but it's kind of cool because it does have that open world that you can go into, and you can get into a car and you could just race in the city. You can go onto water, you can go in the air. There's lots of different things that you can do with this game. I love the fact that it's an open world, because I don't have time for a story. Please don't give me a game with a story in it. I just don't have time unless it's a really quick story. Um, but I wanted to mention it because it's a game I have played and it's a game I really like because you could just get in the car and just drive through the city and crash into things. Stuff that you really that we're not saying that you should do when we're not sponsoring them, we're not condoning this behavior at all. We should probably have a little thing that comes up that says screen time does not promote this behavior. We're not promoting the behavior, but what's good is that you can get into a video game and actually kind of do this. But I think it's fun to go into different cities and different world and go into the open world and be able to kind of kind of have fun in it, and be able to drive around, drive fast, drive through red lights. The cops are after you and try to escape, see if you can escape them, the policeman. um, you could also it does have a story to it. If you want to do the story, you absolutely can do the story. Yeah, but I like it a lot, and it's definitely a game I would suggest if you have Xbox. There's also something called Saints Row, which is also the same kind of thing, but more of an Xboxy version.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, more of an Xbox version of the GTA. I have also played that because I also did have Xbox.
Mhm. I
But
think it's the first game. Yeah, I remember those.
yeah, I think it was the first one I played. I haven't played any of the other versions, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, it's kind of cool. But I kind of like the GTA version better. I think the graphics are a little bit better
Mhm.
in that, and again, I love the open world. So we're gonna go to you, Kyle. What's your first? I'm so excited about this. I can't wait. I know that there's one game with a Z in it that I know you're going to talk about. I'm not sure if that's the first one, but I know that there's a game, and it's not Doug
Mhm.
Ziman. It's something else. But
I
what's your first game that you love that you want to talk about?
I don't know what Doug's talking about. I'm not a big fan of games with Z. Oh wait, actually, just kidding. Right?
Wait, what is that? Is that a
It's
game
just
with a Z? Oh, it certainly is,
slightly
and
appearing
that
as Z.
looks
It's
like
kind of hard to tell, but
yeah.
you guys
What
can
is
probably see
that?
this.
It's oh my. What
Oh,
is that game?
so this is quite possibly one
Yeah, you
of the
gotta
best
put it near your
games
face. I don't
of
know why
all
I didn't see
time.
that.
Just gonna do that. Just let the
Yeah.
game talk for itself, you know. Um, this is a game I actually one of the few Super Nintendo games I actually have the complete copy. I have the manual and the actual cartridge all at one together. Um, and this is a Zelda: A Link to the Past. This is what many consider to be um, the best Zelda game of all time. For me, that's kind of hard. I can't tell you if it's because I also loved Ocarina of Time. That's also one of my favorites, and Majora's Mask, which both came out for the subsequent console and N64. But this game is easily one of the best Super Nintendo games I've ever played. I had a hard time getting into initially, but I just think it's a really fantastic just adventure game. It really kind of has a couple RPG elements here and there. You get to talk to townspeople and visit a couple towns here and there, but it really has a sense of adventure. It's a lot. It's a more kind of puzzle solving. You fight baddies. It's not like a turn-based RPG. You do fight baddies one on one, and yeah, you get to throw jars at the bad guys and knock them down ledges, and it's pretty cool. But in the
This
dungeons,
is
oh
great.
my
This is
god,
great.
like it's so the graphics are so old, but it's one of those games where it's like it just holds up so well.
I
It's
think I think the graphics are classic graphics.
exactly
Because
right.
old is a connotation of it's like it's bad. It's
Mhm.
not. It's not bad. It's what the graphics were in 1991. That's just what the graphics were in 1990, early 90s. And the early 90s graphics are really kind of are coming back now. There's lots of different things that are coming back. So I would
Yeah.
kind of, and I didn't mean to come on to your thing there, but it's one of those things where I think it's more of a classic. This is a classic game
Hmm. It really
with
is like
classic graphics.
it just it has a very old school charm to it that,
Mm,
and it's still pretty challenging. It presents a decent challenge, not like impossible, but getting through the dungeons can require a lot of thinking, and there's not a lot of games that did that at the time. Like some of the stuff you have to kind of like look around the world, and you have to kind of talk to certain townspeople, and they give you hints and clues on how to find things, and that's what Zelda has always done really well. Just the whole series, from Link to the Past on, just like they've always just been really stellar kind of puzzle solving adventure games, and you love, and I just love it. Like I love just the whole quest angle of it, and there's a lot of when you're not doing the main quest, you can also do some side quests. You can find some secret like items and like weapons and stuff, and it just has its own really unique world. And it's a game also you can get on the Super Nintendo Classic. And I forgot if I told you, so the Super Nintendo Classic, you can also has a little HDMI port here, so you can actually plug it onto modern TV. So if you want to play Zelda in a modern kind of like nice big clear flat screen, then this is a really good system. Kind of hard to find,
it's
but if you can
it's
get it, then it's
phenomenal. That's great.
yeah, it's amazing. It's a great way to kind of continue the Super Nintendo in a way that that like yeah, but it's yeah, definitely check out Zelda. That's easily one of the best games you could ever play on that system, or just in
That
general.
that HDMI cable thing is absolutely brilliant because now you can hook it up to a modern TV and be able to watch it on your 65-inch 65-inch TV and be able to play the old classic games on there. That's just a brilliant way of doing things, I think. It
Oh
just
yeah.
makes
and,
it so
and
much better so you don't have to go on that 19-inch non-color that monitor-esque situation situation when you can go to one of your I have a TV from 2008 and
Mhm.
it's a plasma. They don't make any plasmas anymore,
Oh yeah, no.
but I can imagine you bringing that game over, we hooking it up, and you could play it on this beautiful colored plasma TV, and that's just awesome how they
Mhm.
modernized it. They basically modernized it,
They did,
which is great.
and the other cool part too is that really quick before I hand it over to you, you can actually also, if you wanted to play these games too, and you maybe you couldn't find the Super Nintendo Classic, maybe you don't have a Super Nintendo, like old Super Nintendo lying around, you can also play them on Switch. So Switch is also has this really great system, kind of like Netflix. So you subscribe to them online, and they have a whole bunch of like NES, Super Nintendo games that you can play, and Link to the Past is also on there, along with a lot of other great Super Nintendo. So there's a few different ways you can kind of like go about it, which is really nice.
Yeah, they've really done a great job with trying to modernize. I can understand why it's your favorite console because a lot of consoles, what they do is they just make a new console.
Yeah.
They just make a new one. What I think Nintendo has done is yeah, they have made some new ones, but what they've done is that they've almost turned the old one into a new one by modifying it so you can actually play it on your modern kinds of situation. You can play it on your computer, and if your computer has, I mean, I have a new Asus computer, and
Mhm.
I have an HDMI on the computer. I could hook that up to my computer and actually watch it. This is a really it's a big screen. It's a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, which is the best
Nice.
aspect ratio you can get. So it's a big, tall screen, and it would look great on this because it's an OLED. So it would look incredible. It would look
That's incredible.
incredible just on that. So what they did was with the Nintendo is that they actually modernized it so you can play
Mhm.
those the classic games on newer monitors, newer TVs, and you could have a better experience than having to look at that old. Yeah, I see that. Yep, there's Zelda. I mean, you're trying to find what you
Mhm.
need to do, but now they've modernized it. It's fantastic. It's great. I mean, I think it's brilliant how they did that.
Yeah, so cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, what was your game that you wanted to mention too?
So the next game I have is a game that's actually not offered in everywhere. It's and there's a reason for it. And so this one is called. Let me see if I can get that up there. Can everybody see that? It's basically the EA Sports NHL 23. Um, and it's they have two athletes on there. They typically have one, but they have two. They not only have the original NHL teams that are on it for 2022 2023, but they also have the women's teams, which is really excellent, which is really cool. See, there you go. There it is, right up there. Um, and it's got it really does. The graphics are incredible. The puck movement is so much better than the original that came out.
Yeah, my God, it looks
They
so good. I'm just like
Yeah, Kyle, you're gonna have to come over when I get the new one, and you're gonna have to watch this because it's really it's it's fantastic.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
very realistic, and one of the reasons why it's not offered in every city is because the NHL is only in certain cities. And it's really only offered in certain cities. It's not offered in places where they don't have NHL teams. And the reason that they don't offer it is because it probably people wouldn't even pick it up. Um,
Wow.
so they've actually obviously Boston is a very hockey heavy kind of situation. There are different modes that you can play. It's actually interesting training kind of situation there. I don't do any of
Yeah,
the
looks like
training
you really
stuff, but I
captured the
love.
emotions there.
Yeah, there is. Um, the hitting is even better this year than it was last year. You can make these kinds of really crazy moves now. You can dive and like hit the puck at the same time,
That's
which you couldn't.
cool.
Yeah, which you couldn't do before. They really try to make the players. They really try to make the play very NHL like. So they and what you could do is you can change rosters around. You can have trades. You can do a season. I just did a whole season. By the way, the Bruins did win that season, so it is what it is. I know they did really win, but
Mhm.
I played a season. You can put players on. You can make yourself on a team if you want to. There's different things that you can
Cool.
do, as you can see here. um there's just different modes that you can play. Um there's lots of different, like, how do you call it, it's like you can there's lots of different statistics that you can see, that you can look at. Trevor Zagras is the one that's on the cover. He plays for the Mighty Ducks, Anaheim
Oh,
Mighty
he's the
Ducks.
one, okay.
Yep, he's the one. And Sarah Nurse plays for the women's teams. And they actually have a place where you can actually play the women's teams, which is really, really cool.
Cool.
A lot like the WNBA is now has been on the NBA 2K games for a few years now, several years, many years actually. You
Okay.
can actually do that, and they're kind of showing you how they got together with the NHL players so they could do the graphics for it. It's kind of cool how they hook them up to all this digital stuff and stuff like that. So
That's amazing.
I I just this game actually gets better and better every year. It just does. That they have different moves, they have different things that you can do. You can play a season, you can play just a regular game, you can play an all-star game. There are different modes that you can do. You can start out as somebody, and they do also have um, other teams from different leagues. So they
Hmm.
do have like the Providence Bruins. So they do.
Really?
They do.
Are you
So yes,
serious?
yep,
Oh,
they
I had no
do.
idea. That's really awesome.
They have the Swedish
Wow, quick shout out,
teams.
okay.
So if for some reason the Bruins decide, or the Anaheim Mighty Ducks decide to go get somebody from the Swedish league, you can actually look them up and actually get that player and put them on the team, because they do have the all the what they call the minor league teams.
Mhm.
So very cool. They have different ones of those, and then they have the European teams and the Canadian teams. So they have all those teams, and it's just really kind of it's a as far as I'm concerned, it's a complete game. What I like about it is that it feels like real hockey. It feels like you're playing real hockey. Um, I didn't do a lot of playing hockey when I was, growing up, but I had a pool. It froze over. We played hockey, so that's about it. I never played on a team, but this really feels like real hockey. The graphics are very, very good. Um, I like the fact that they put the women's teams on there because it's phenomenal. Just something different that if you wanted to play something different that day, you can. Love the modes that are on it. The modes are great. Just a great overall game. I'm glad that we have it here. Obviously, with the Boston Bruins being very popular, it's one of my favorite games that I like to play.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's I haven't played a lot of hockey, but I think the last one I played was NHL '08 for when it came out on 360, and that game was actually pretty fun. Like I enjoyed like kind of the whole getting into fights and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes, you can do that too. They don't. There's a way of you can actually turn fights on and off.
Oh, cool.
They have that now. So you can have a situation so you can set it up any way you want to.
Wow,
There's
that's
so
awesome.
many things that you can do. You can set up the speed, you can set up, how fast the players are on the ice. If you want it a little slower because you're a beginner, you can do that. You can practice, so you have a goalie and then you have yourself or somebody on it's the guy on the front, so it's typically he comes out, or you could just pick a guy. You could pick a guy from your favorite team and you could just shoot on net and do different things. You have to kind of learn how to skate and learn how to skate. The skating is unbelievable. They've made that so much better this year too.
Wow.
Is that it's real time. It looks real and it feels real as you're using your controller. Um, when you get hit, you feel that because you have your dual, you have your vibrating controller, so you actually feel when you get hit, and when you make a hit.
Cool.
The hits are even nastier this year than they were before, um, and it's a very realistic game, and that's what I like about it. Very, very realistic. Got all the players that you love. Um, just a very realistic game, and that's why
Nice.
I like to play it. So
Oh, nice. Well, I'll have to try it out on PS4 pretty soon. But speaking of
yeah,
games
definitely.
with very fluid movement, so this game actually I figured you'd appreciate this one, Doug. You know, especially you being a Star Wars fan. But this is actually probably my favorite Star Wars game of all time, right here.
Oh,
For yeah. And this is actually my first this was my first exposure to just the world of Star Wars. So I remember getting this game. Like I went to I think it was like Sam's Club. It was one of those kind of like older kind of stores. And I remember just going there and getting maybe Sam's Club or one of those other kind of like similar type stores and getting this game like brand new and
mm.
just playing it and then just like really I got lost in this game. Like I played it so much and I even I invite a friend over my house and like he would sweat buckets. Like he and I would just like we just get so into the game and trying to get to the end, defeating Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine and everything. And um so it's cool because it's actually it's part of a Super Nintendo Star Wars trilogy of games, and it's made by this company JVC. Um,
Oh yeah, they do. They used to do video. They do. JVC is a great company. Actually, it's yeah. I mean, it was. I'm not sure if it's still around, but I know I had a video cassette recorder, VCR through them at one point. So yeah,
yeah, because I forgot that they did like kind of more physical like systems and stuff like that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
but yeah, as you can see, so like
Oh
they had
man,
actually on Super Nintendo they had released the entire trilogy of the original trilogy there for, and each game was kind of like this cool side scrolling
wow.
um like type game.
This is
Um,
great.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Return of the Jedi, I specifically loved. I think it's actually the best of the three, personally. Just when it comes to gameplay and like, just you can see the movement, like they like his when Luke swings the lightsaber and everything. It's just very fluid, and the animations are really great. The
It's awesome.
graphics like are just so cool, and you can even you can be Bikini Leia, of course, in a couple levels, or one at least that I can think of it. And and there's these great kind of mode 7 stages where you actually, so not only is it a side scroller, one of the things I love about this game is that it um just the complete, like, it has a lot of variety. It really kind of goes through your favorite moments of each of these movies, and Return of the Jedi was so stellar because it went from side scroller to, and yes, you can be Han Solo. You could like switch these different characters. You can even be a freaking Ewok. It's you can be Chewy. Like, this is the first game where you can literally be all the main characters. Like, they hadn't really done that in the other two, but there's games, you can go on the speeder and in these kind of like sort of pseudo 3D
Oh,
levels.
that's so cool.
Yeah, and like I liked it because you didn't really know what you were going to get all the time, and it was just really cool. Like, you got to choose which character you wanted to complete the mission with, and like you got to go through all the big scenes of the movie. And of course, they add certain aspects of it to, they add certain boss fights and stuff that weren't in the movie. But, that's what games do. Sometimes they kind of pad it out a little bit to kind of, but just the gameplay itself was so fluid. You get to use all of Luke's force powers when you're Jedi him, and
Wow.
like you get to do force healing, and you get to, they even added some extra ones that he couldn't do in the movie, like he could vanish all of a sudden.
That's awesome. I mean, even the graphics there look a lot better than some of the earlier graphics. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's like,
Mhm.
they're not the graphics of 2023, but that's okay. They don't have to be. So,
Yeah.
and that's what's cool about it, is that you're kind of going back and you're kind of challenging yourself to see what you can do in the game. And I think that's so cool.
Oh yeah, and it's a fun game to. It's not a very long game. A lot of those games back then, they were pretty challenging, and I feel
Mm.
like some of the challenge kind of made up for like the runtime, because you can actually complete the game in like 20 minutes. Honestly, if you really know what you're doing. And that's a game I love speed running, because like I've played it so many times, and I can just speed run the game. Like I know it like inside out. But it's so much fun, even if you're like a newcomer. Like, I feel like, the boss fights are really cool, and like it's just, there's just a lot to like about it, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. Yes, it is challenging, but it's one of those games where it's like you keep trying, you're gonna prevail. You'll get through the level. It's so much fun. So definitely check it out. Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, Super Star Wars, as they call it.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
Yeah, just incredible.
Yeah, it just looks really fun to play.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so that's pretty much it for Return of the Jedi there. Like, if you guys get the chance too, actually, actually, it's funny to kind of like, before you go to your game, so you can actually play. I'm surprised they haven't done this with the other two, but you can actually play the very first Super Star Wars game on PS4. You can actually buy it digitally, and it's nice because they actually put save states in the game. So because a lot of these games, they use kind of like a password system.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you kind of get stuck in an area, you either have to start the level over again with the password, or you pretty much just have to start the game itself all over again. So to avoid doing that, you can actually, the PS4 version, put save states, so you can kind of save wherever you want. So it's pretty
Oh
neat.
yeah, no, that's perfect. I think that's excellent. And I just think I could see your friend sweating over that game, trying to figure out how you can get through it and stuff like that. So that's just really cool. I mean, I think some of those older ones, again, older meaning not bad, just older meaning classic. Some of these classic games, we were just talking off air. We were talking about, Tecmo Bowl, which is just, I mean. Madden is out there and the graphics are incredible. Tecmo Bowl, the graphics are from, mid 80s to late 80s, but it's still awesome. It's still awesome to play that.
Yeah,
I love playing that
that's
game. Just
fun.
in the arcade itself, it was just fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's very cool. So my last game that I'm going to talk about is another sports game. I do like the sports games, but this game is it's NBA 2K, which is my favorite sports game of all time. The reason I like this, I actually play this all year. I get this and I turn it in. I turn it in maybe a couple days, maybe that day that I get the new one. That's
Wow.
how much I like this game. Now, there's a couple reasons why I like this game. First of all, it is the graphics are incredible. That's the first thing. It's
Oh,
it's very yeah, it's very
how about
realistic.
that?
It's very realistic. It's that's the first thing. They do have the WNBA in there also, which is great.
Cool.
So they have the WNBA audience, which is pretty cool because a lot of the guy like watching WNBA too because it's a little different. It's the same gameplay, so it's really very cool. The reason I like it and I play it is you can play a season if you want. There's different modes that you can play. You could play a guy that first starts in the league and tries to get himself to the NBA. So that's really cool. The WNBA, you could do that too. So it's really awesome. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it has what we talked about off air, Kyle and I, is that it does have legendary teams. So it not only has the regular teams for 2023, okay, all the teams,
Mhm.
it also has legendary teams like the 1998 Bulls with Michael Jordan. So it has all those teams.
Oh,
It
cool.
has the 1994 Orlando Magic with Shaquille O'Neal as
Ooh,
a youngster. Um, it has Utah Jazz also. So it's got Karl Malone in that one too. So different years. It actually has Bill Russell's team from the 50s. Yes, it has Julius Irving's team from 1980. So you can go, so you can play those teams against the 2023 teams,
oh my
or you
god,
could
I
play
can't.
that. You could play Michael Jordan against Bill Russell.
Oh my god. Oh, it's so cool.
Yes.
I love
So
that.
so so check this out. For 2023, it got even better. So for 2023, they not only have your regular season teams, your regular teams for 2023,
Mhm.
your what I call the dated teams, which is the 1995 Bulls, the has the Celtics from 86, has the Celtics from 2008. They won those championships. So it's got Larry Bird from 1985. So you could basically play Larry Bird in 1990 and 1986, 1985, 86. You could play that team versus the 2007, 2008 Celtics. So you could play against them, against each other. But what they did was they added a third version of this. And again, this is why I have this game like for a whole year. And I don't just turn it in after basketball season. I play it right through the summer and right up to the next game. They have the best of each team. So they have the Celtics and they have the best players teams,
Mhm.
the legends teams, which means that Larry Bird is on the same team as Will Chamberlain. Sorry, Will Chamberlain's the Lakers. Bill Russell. So they have those teams too. So they have Larry Bird, they have Havlicek, they have um, uh, Bill Russell, they have Bob Cousy mixed in.
So like an
All these
all-star
legends. So
kinda
it's
setup?
the legendary Celtics team, the legendary Orlando team, and they have all the teams, legendary Chicago team, a legendary Laker team, which is incredible.
Oh my
That one
god.
has Will Chamberlain and Jamal Wilkes and Magic Johnson and unbelievable. They added that. And are you kidding me? I'm not going to play that version. I'm not going to play the legends against the legends. And it's a full game. It's not like they cut down on the. You play a full game with it.
Oh my god.
It's unbelievable. That's why this is my favorite sports game because there's so many.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's so many teams that you can play against. You could play the legend team against the original 2023 team. So if you want to play Golden State against the legends of the Celtics, you could do that. It's just they brought it to another level. Every single year, these guys bring it to a new level. And there's so many things that you can do. This is what makes a game. This is my idea of what makes a game the best game is that there's lots of levels, there's lots of things to do, there's different modes that you can go into. There's all kinds of different things that keep you busy in the game that are not going to keep. I'm playing a season right now. I'm playing the season right now, and I put the new stuff, the new guys on the Celtics that are the new guys or whatever. But I have the team that's coming up the next year. But now I'm playing a season. But you can play these legendary teams against the 2023 teams, or you can play them against other legend teams. It's if you even like basketball, this is an incredible game. And they don't I don't think they're going to get rid of any of that stuff. If anything, they're going to grow with it. So there's lots of different things that you could do with this, and that's why I'm every single day you could do something different. You don't have to play the same teams or the same game over and over again. Love it. Just love it. The commentary is great. It's as you can tell by the video we just saw, it's real play basketball. So it's really, I mean, maybe the refs, you want to smack a ref or two here and there, but other that's normal. But
Fights.
other than that,
Yeah.
yeah,
They
right.
like a mode where you can like fight the refs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, we could get into a fight with a ref or something, smash him on the ground. Can't imagine Shaquille O'Neal picking a guy up, by the throat, smash him on the ground. Um, that may be in 2024. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but we'll have to see. They have the real commentators. They have the commentators for TNT, so they have Shaq and Kenny Smith that are on at halftime. So it's pretty cool. And Shaq's always going like this, and he's always doing something funny, with his little actions and stuff like that. It's very cool. It's a very cool game. These are the reasons why I have the game. I still have it. I'm still playing it, and I will continue to play it until I think the new one's coming out. The NHL game usually comes out in October. This one will come out in late September.
okay.
Yeah, late September, I think. I do have the date. I just don't have it. I didn't remember it on me, but I do have it. Madden's coming out in August 18th, the new Madden. And then this game will come out in early September. I'm sorry, early September, sometime early September, maybe even mid September, something like that. And then the NHL will probably come out sometime in October.
Very nice. Very nice.
But I just think that's if you love basketball, this is I've played legendary teams. I've played Larry Bird's 85 team, which is considered one of the best teams in ever against some Michael Jordan's teams. It's just phenomenal. You see Rodman with the different hair, depending on what team he's on.
Or which
Just
Jean Claude Van Damme movie he's in, right?
right, exactly. What's interesting is that you see some of the different players, like Scottie Pippen, was really on the Bulls, but he actually went to the Blazers after he was on the Bulls. He only
Oh,
spent a year or two on the Blazers, but he's on the Blazers legendary team.
oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
Rodman was on the Bulls, but he was on Detroit first. So on the legendary
Huh.
team, Rodman is actually there with his with his regular hair because he didn't change his hair until they got to the Bulls.
Okay.
Changed his hair on the Bulls, so it's like reddish color for the Bulls. And then when he went to San Antonio, he had this white hair going on, and he's on the San Antonio team. Um, I think that won the championship. I think, but anyway, he's got the white hair, so it's just different how they really try to make the graphics really the way they're supposed to be. They don't kind of cheat on that, but it's just incredible. I can't say enough about this game that I'm continuing to play and continuing to get. Definitely worth it.
Nice, nice. Oh, good to see a really solid basketball game out there.
Oh yeah.
Um, I was just gonna go actually kind of just talk about my last game from there because actually it's funny because Mario also has had his own number of sports games as well, including Mario Hoops for the 3DS or DS, I think, like 3-on-3 or something like that they call it. So
Oh
yeah,
really? That's
Super
kind of
Mario's
cool.
yeah, he Mario likes to tackle all the sports, but this particular game I was going to talk about was is probably I've set up it actually might be in my opinion, and you can fight me on this, world. You can fight me on this. I think it's the best Mario game of all time. Yes, even better than 3 in
Ooh, you
World.
heard it first.
Yeah, fight
Did he?
me.
Did he? Did he? Breaking news! Breaking news!
And all the other, there Mario's had a ton of other really fantastic stellar games. This to me is the definitive Mario game. And the good news is actually before I even like kind of get into it, they are actually going to re-release it for the Switch with updated graphics and even like a whole new like
Wow.
system of like it's it's amazing. They just announced it actually recently, and I'm sure you guys can probably guess what I'm talking about. It's actually it's this little game called Super Mario RPG. Now,
Ooh.
the thing about this game is it's kind of a marvel because this is the first time Mario is not like a side scroller. He's tried a couple other like he's done some like really bad like educational games like here and there that he tried to do for like PC and Super Nintendo, but nothing compares to this. Like
Wow.
this is Mario in an RPG. So we're talking like Mario where he jumps, there's still platforming, like, and there's still you still encounter Goombas and stuff like that. But
Goomba. I love
like
that.
Goombas and Koopas and Bowser's in it and Peach and everything. So all the classic Mario characters are there, but then there's more. They open up the Mario world so much. Like he even gets to ride Yoshi in the game, just like in Mario World and stuff like that. So they reference all the other Mario games, but it's an RPG form. So what
Wow.
Nintendo did was um they hired famed RPG developer Squaresoft at the time. Now they're called Square Enix because they kind of merged studios over the years. They used to be separate studios, Squaresoft and Enix. Now they merged to Square Enix. But at the time, Squaresoft, they were known for doing like some of the best RPGs you can ever play, like Final Fantasy series, Chrono Trigger, and they even went on to do more, for like the PlayStation and stuff like that. So Nintendo teamed up with Squaresoft, and literally, it's like you're playing Mario. It's like you're playing Mario, and um, but with but in like the world of Final Fantasy. So you got turn-based battles. You get to like um there's even like timed hits. So whenever you hit the enemy, like instead of watching the character just go through the cutscene, the game actually actively like makes you involved in the fight, the turn-based fighting. Like you have to time it well. If you tap the A button right as Mario or the character is about to like attack the bad guy, then you deal more damage. So it has a
Wow.
very kind of like unique battle system. It has a 3D plane that you can explore. So it's like an isometric 3D, pseudo 3D type of game. And when you're not fighting enemies, turn-based style, you can actually like go into towns and like buy weapons and armor like you can like those classic Final Fantasy games.
Wow.
And
Mario goes Rambo.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. He's got like hammers and like freaking like
Mario Rambo style.
guys like Yeah, it's a lot of fighting in this game.
I
But
am
it was
Mario.
amazing.
Do
Like,
not mess with me.
yeah,
That's not Rambo. That is Schwarzenegger, but still, same concept.
yeah, exactly. And
Mario goes commando.
oh man, I would play the hell out of that game now. That's a game we
Oh,
should talk
right.
about.
Can you see him with the all the bullets, all those bullets around his around here, a little M16 up here on his shoulder. That would
Right?
be totally cool.
Bas-
Commando Mario. That'd be awesome.
Basically, like you've seen Mario in side scrollers and RPGs and having parties and playing sports, but now see him in first person action in Call of Mario.
Call of Duty Mario's edition.
Yeah, Mario.
Mario edition.
Mario, I thought you said you brought a flamethrower. Oh, I did. It's a flower. He's like throwing the fireballs.
Mario's brother Luigi and joins him in Commando time. Mario Commando, Mario Rambo, you name it, Mario and Luigi do it.
Man, that's a whole other like I would love
Hey,
to.
listen, I would actually get the Super Nintendo to actually play that game.
That would be the
I would
best thing
actually
of all time.
purchase that Super Nintendo to get that game. We should make that game. We should
Okay.
actually go and make that game. That would be awesome.
This is the first
That would be so cool.
someone's had to like even like a fan has had to have like done something like that, out there in the modding community.
That's just awesome.
Oh man, but yeah, no. So, it's just I like the game too because it has the best story I think out of any Mario game. Because as we know, most Mario games, the story is, oh no, here comes Bowser. He's captured Peach. Mario has to rescue him. Okay, I saved you, Peach. That's basically the story of like most Mario games, like. But this one, I like it because it has a fun little twist. Like it starts with that Bowser captures Peach. Mario swoops in again, saves the day, but like this giant sword lands on Bowser's castle, and you're wondering, okay, where did the sword come from? And it's actually not one of Bowser's minions this time. So there's this other force that's kind of coming in, breaking into Mario's world. So what ends up happening, without spoiling too much, Mario actually ends up teaming up with Bowser and with Peach to take down this evil that's going on. And it is really cool. They got some really great original characters like Mallow and Gino. Gino actually is this like he's like if Pinocchio met the Terminator. He's like this freaking like puppet, but like his arms can like turn into like freaking guns. Like I'm not even joking. Like that's literally what you were actually not too far off in the description of the game there.
Mario, I must break you.
Yeah. But yeah,
Rocky versus Mario. There you go. That's
I
something
love
like that.
it. Oh, it's not hurt too bad.
Yeah, that's right. Mario Brothers, Call of Duty, Mario style.
It's great. It's a fun time, and I was so pumped. Like you have no idea. Like I was at work, when I found out that they were remaking it for the Switch, and I had literally gasped. I like gasped in my atrium. So like I feel like if anyone was like walking in the atrium, they could hear like an echo of my gasp when I saw that they were doing this. I'm like, I couldn't even like I could barely breathe. I'm like, this is the best thing I've so there goes another $60. So here we go. Just gonna
It is what it is, man. You gotta. Hey, listen, you gotta play it. You gotta play it.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no, so those are my favorite games. I love playing them. They're great, especially Mario RPG. I think might be my favorite game of all time. It's just great. Love it. And this little fun little tidbit, look out for cameos from other Nintendo characters too throughout the game. It's actually pretty clever.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you do have Commando and let's see, The Rock, and
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
other-
look out for those characters. You're gonna find them, especially in like the jungle levels. They're all gonna be there. Yeah.
got Arnold. I come and get you, Mario. Oh, that's fantastic. It looks awesome. I mean, that's definitely a game I would like to play the Rambo version, but if I can't play the Rambo version, this one looks pretty good.
Yeah, so good.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, that's pretty much about it for on my end. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention?
No, not in the games, but again, these are just a few of the games that we play. Just a few of our favorites. We'll have another episode of what I'm going to try to do, and this is my thing for coming up really soon is I'm thinking about getting a PS5. So my thing is that I want to start playing some other things other than sports. I love the sports games, I really do.
Mhm.
But I want to expand my horizon on that. Um, it'd be really cool if Mario against Rambo or Mario against Commando or something like that came out on PS5. That'd be cool. I would play that.
Mario v Rambo. Yeah.
But I'm expanding my. So we're gonna do another episode that we haven't planned yet, but there'll be other really cool episodes about video games. But one of them is I'm going to be personally expanding my library and trying to play some other games, fantasy, some other stuff, car racing, and um, just I'm looking to expand my horizons when it comes to video game play. So I'm looking to do that. So if anybody has any suggestions, please comment any suggestions that you have, either on PS4 or PS5 right now. Typically, if it's on PS4, it probably goes on PS5, so that's all good. But yeah, if you have any other kinds of suggestions that you have for me to play, or even Kyle,
Yeah,
please,
I'm always open.
yeah, please put it in the comments. We look forward to that.
Yeah, and if
I
you guys
also
have a
want,
favorite console that you wanted to mention, and
yeah,
some favorite
definitely.
games from that, whether it's new or old, if you guys had
Mm,
anything you wanted to
newer
share
classic, baby. Put it
during
on there.
that.
We want to know what your favorite game system is, your favorite console is. What classic games do you play? Are you more modern like me? Or are you more on the classic side like Kyle is? And is that where are you in the range there? That those are things that we would love to hear from you on that. We'd love to hear from you about other stuff that you want to hear about. Listen, we
Yeah.
talk about movies, talk about TV, we talk about video games. We've actually added music. I'm not sure if I told Kyle about this, but we're actually adding music, which Kyle is very excited about. We've actually
Oh,
added
I've always
music
wanted
to
to
our.
talk about music, so that's
Yeah, we
that's a
added.
no-brainer.
We did add music to our repertoire, which we haven't talked about too much of that yet, but we are on Spotify, so it's one of those things where we'd like to add some music to that. We add some music to our repertoire, so we want to you know keep adding to what we're talking about. So if you have any like show ideas, please comment on those too and tell us what you want us to talk about, and we'll certainly try to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. No, well said. Yeah, anything you guys got, just shoot us our way, and we really want to thank you guys tonight for joining us on this really incredible, epic, super epic discussion about video game consoles. And yes, we will come back to you guys. Who knows? Maybe the next episode will be about music. I might push you a little bit on that one, Doug. So if we can just start the music up, that'll be the next round.
Oh yeah, definitely. And listen, there's lots to talk about when it comes to music. Do want to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors are scrolling beneath us. So if you wanted to look at those, we want to thank Simon Organizing and of course Wes Woodson for being our sponsors. I did want to tell you, little breaking news. We are new on Instagram. So find us. We are new. We're going to add that to our scrolling capability. We're going to add that to another social media that we happen to be on. When you go there, there's something called Linktree. you click on the link tree and you can get our episodes. Now, you have to put in there, Kyle, put all the episodes on. I want to see all the episodes.
Yeah,
I'm
still working
just
on that.
kidding.
I know
I'm
it is.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just busting on Kyle. But again, you can go to either Spotify, click on Spotify, or click on YouTube, and you can go to our episodes, and you can scroll, and you can pick episodes that you want to listen to or watch, and it's awesome. So we are officially on Instagram. If you want to, send us a message, and we'll start following you too, and follow us on Instagram. So we're definitely on Instagram. That's something that's very new. And again, we have Linktree on there, so you can link to our episodes on YouTube and Spotify. We're very excited about this. I want to thank my daughter Alana for that. She's the one who helped us put that together. Speaking of that, it's Alana's birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday to my daughter Alana. I'm
Oh,
not
happy
going to tell
birthday,
you how
Lon.
old she is. She's just old. No, she's 20. She's going to be 20. It's crazy. And so happy birthday to her. And again, uh, we are on, and it's scrolling right down here too. At times we have our sponsors, and we also have where we're at. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We are on Instagram. New on Instagram, please. We are also. I typically put the episode on Facebook also. So
Oh,
if you're
nice.
just a Facebook person, that's okay. I put the episode on there
Mhm.
so you can watch it. Not a problem. And of course, we're on Spotify too. So and looking to get on some other stuff also. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for me, Kyle. I think we pretty much covered
Yeah.
everything. I think.
I think we're good. We had a pretty epic episode, and we want to
Oh yeah.
thank everyone for joining us tonight. And we hope everyone has a really great night. And we will see you next time on Screen Time with Doug and Kyle.